All right, good morning and welcome back to another chapter from our daily bread. We'll be looking at Exodus 28 today, talking about the priest's garments. Last time we talked about the oil, the court of the tabernacle, and the bronze altar. Today we want to pick up with what the priests are actually wearing. I believe that there's a whole chapter about what they're wearing. It goes to show how important this part is to Yahweh. So obviously, as we've learned up to this point, there's a lot of pieces that are important to him. He's very meticulous and very symbolic for why he does what he does. Let's read in verse 1, and again, as usual, let's see what we can pick up and apply to ourselves and further learn about who Yahweh is. In verse 1 it says, "Then bring near to you Aaron your brother and his sons with him from among the people of Israel to serve me as priests. Aaron and Aaron's sons, Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar." Now up to this point, guys, Moses has been the one serving as priest, believe it or not. Let me see if I can look at a reference here. According to the, make sure I get this book name right. Commentary, critical and explanatory on the whole Bible. So it says Moses had hitherto, which means up to this point, discharged the priestly duties himself. But at this point, he's now relinquishing or giving that duty to his brother. Amen. So now he can focus on more specific what his jobs are. "And you shall make holy garments for Aaron your brother, for glory and for beauty." Look at that. So he says, I want you to make garments. And he told us why. For glory and for beauty. We talked about this before, but Yahweh is into beautiful things. Again, as men, we often want to make things functional, which is absolutely wonderful because Yahweh is about making things functional. But here we see also that he specifically wanted to be beautiful. And shall make holy garments. Holy garments. So this holy garment, there was nothing inherently holy about this material. There wasn't something that was making it amazing just in and of itself. But they are called holy simply because they were not worn on ordinary occasions, but assumed in the discharge of sacred functions. So we can see here in Ezekiel. And when they go out into the, I didn't want to go that far out. 1 second here. Let's go back. There we go. All right, so, and when they go out into the outer court to the people, they shall put off the garments. So when they would leave that inner court inside the tabernacle, they were to take off their garments, put off the garments in which they have been ministering, and lay them in the holy chambers. And they shall put on other garments, lest they transmit holiness to the people with their garments. Look at that. Their garments were so holy that they were not to be worn outside of that tabernacle, lest they infect the other people with holiness, if there is such a thing. And obviously there is. So he didn't want, and also they were to change clothes. This is how important it is. And I would beg you to consider how we dress. Of course, we don't have a tabernacle today. We don't have the temple. Of course, we're not approaching Yahweh in the Holy of Holies and all these things. But we are priests. And we do represent him. And I don't know when you may apply this, but my point is this. One thing that I did not know that I'm coming to understand better from reading these words and words like this is that what we wear is important to Yahweh. It's very important. If it were not, he would not have designed a whole chapter discussing what the priests should wear when they come before him. So be careful what you wear. What do you wear to work? What do you wear to church? What do you wear in the sanctuary and to give him praise? What are you wearing is a big deal to Yahweh. And I'm not here to tell you how to dress, but to be more cognizant of what you're wearing because of who you're representing and who you're not just representing to other people, but who he is all by himself. and that you want to honor him and respect him. In verse 3, you shall speak, for glory and beauty. Again, that's a big, beautiful picture. I think I had a part of that. Yeah, this talks about a little bit there, but I've already mentioned that. In verse 3, you shall speak to all the skillful, whom I have filled with a spirit of skill. Listen to that they make Aaron's garments to consecrate him for my priesthood. He filled them with skill so that they could do it. I love the statement that Yahweh never gives us promises without making provisions. See, he asked for a temple with skillfully woven cherubim and all the lights in this garment or in this temple. But he says, look, I filled you with a spirit of skill. So if I put in your heart to do such a thing, if I've called you to do such a thing, trust that I've given you the ability to do it. Verse 4, these are the garments that they shall make: a breastplate, an ephod, a robe, a coat of checker work, a turban, and a sash. They shall make holy garments for Aaron, your brother, and his sons to serve me as priests. They shall receive gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet yarns, and fine twined linen. And they shall make the ephod of gold, of blue, and purple, and scarlet yarns, and of fine twined linen, skillfully worked. You can see I circled the word ephod here, in case you don't know what an ephod is or what it looks like. And they shall make the ephod of gold. Now I forgot to show you the picture. Here we go. So here's a picture, and it breaks it down on each part of the garment here. But the ephod would be this piece here. It looks like an apron. So this is a pretty good rendition of what the priest garments will look like. As we're going through this description, I'll try to include a picture, as we're reading this, so that you can compare what we're reading to what you're seeing. So this is the ephod here, and I want to read a little excerpt about the ephod, so we can get a little bit more information on it. So the ephod here was a very gorgeous robe made of byssus, curiously embroidered and dyed with variegated colors and further enriched with golden tissue, the threads of gold being either originally interwoven or afterwards inserted with the embroidery. It was short, reaching from the breast to a little below the loins, as you can see here. Reaching from the breast to a little bit below the loins. And look down here, this symbolic design of this was that the high priest who bore the names along with him in all the ministrations before the Lord might be kept in remembrance of his duty to plead their cause. Because we haven't read that part yet, but as we read, you'll see that each of those stones that we just saw, or we see, those 12 stones represented the 12 tribes, and each tribe had a stone. And he was wearing the tribe's name. Look at it, isn't that beautiful? He was wearing the tribe's names as he went before Yahweh. In verse 8, and the skillfully woven band on it shall be made like it, and be of one piece with it, of gold, blue, and purple, with scarlet yarns and fine twined linen. You shall make 2 onyx stones, and engrave on them the names of the sons of Israel. 6 of the names on the one stone, and the names of the remaining 6 on the other stones, in the order of their birth. As a jewelry engraves signets, so shall you engrave the stones with the names of the sons of Israel. You shall enclose them in a setting of gold filigree, and you shall set the 2 stones on the shoulder pieces of the ephod as stones of remembrance. Listen to that. I'm telling you what they're for, he says. These are stones of remembrance for the sons of Israel. And Aaron shall bear the names before Yahweh on his 2 shoulders before remembrance. Because on his shoulders, you'll see that there will be some stones there, in which he had names for remembrance as well. You shall make settings of gold filigree, and 2 chains of pure gold, twisted like cords, and you shall attach the cord chains to the settings. You shall make a breastplate of judgment and skilled work. In the style of the ephod, you shall make it of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet yarns, and fine twined linen. You shall make it. So you see, this is meant to be something very beautiful. Say, well, you shall make it. And it shall be square and double. They span in its length, and they span its breadth. You shall set it in the 4 rows of stones, a row of sardius, topaz, and carbuncle shall be the first row. So specific is he as to name each stone in order. Because this is nothing by chance that he's like, okay, just put some stones there and put the names on. No, these are the stones. These are the rows. This is the first stone according to their birth. And the fourth row of beryl and onyx and a jasper. They shall be set in gold filigree. There shall be 12 stones with their names according to the names of the sons of Israel. They shall be like signets and engraved with its name for the 12 tribes. You shall make for the breastplate twisted chains like cords of pure gold, and you shall make for the breastplate 2 rings of gold, and put the 2 rings on the 2 edges of the breastplate. The two ends of the 2 cords you shall attach to the 2 settings of filigree, and so attach it in front of the shoulder pieces of the ephod. You shall make 2 gold rings and put them at the end of the breastplate and on the inside edge next to the ephod. And you shall make 2 rings of gold and attach them in front of the lower part of the 2 shoulder pieces of the ephod, and its seam above the skillfully woven band of the ephod. And they shall bind the breastplate by its rings to the ring of the ephod with a lace of blue, so that it may lie on the skillfully woven band of the ephod, so that the breastplate shall not come loose from the ephod. So Aaron shall bear the names of the sons of Israel in the breastplate of judgment on his heart. Wow. When he goes into the holy place to bring them regularly to regular remembrance before Yahweh. This was the purpose. No need to extrapolate or guess here what he's after. He tells us, he said, I want you bearing the names of the people of Israel on your heart. I created it to be right there, so it's symbolically you're carrying the names in your heart for remembrance. So he's all into this symbolism, guys, what something represents. So we are in good context, I guess you call it, if you're trying to figure out what could he mean by this, because he loves to have symbolism. Of course, we have to be careful not to over spiritualize the text and say something that he's not actually saying, but it is very much within his nature to look for glory and beauty and symbolism that represents what he's trying to say. In the breastpiece of the judgment you shall put the Urim and Thummim, and they shall be on Aaron's heart when he goes in before Yahweh. Thus Aaron shall bear the judgment of the people of Israel on his heart before Yahweh regularly. If you've read enough of the Old Testament, you've seen this Urim and Thummim before. This Urim and Thummim tends to come up when decisions are needed to be, or when questions are needed to be asked of Yahweh and an answer to be sought. So let me look at a little bit more about the Urim and Thummim. The words Urim and Thummim, they signify lights and perfections. And nothing more is meant than the precious stones of the breastplate already described. They received the name because the bearing of them qualified the high priest, look at that, to consult the divine oracle on all public or national emergencies. So when they had an emergency and needed a question, an answer from Yahweh on something, they could go here. By going into the holy place, standing close before the veil, not in the veil, but close before the veil, and putting his hand upon the Urim and Thummim, he conveyed a petition from the people and asked counsel of Yahweh, of God. So oftentimes it would be a binary answer, yes or no. And should we go or should we stay? Should we fight or should we not? Who, as sovereign of Israel, gave response from the midst of his glory. All right, verse 31. You shall make the robe of the ephod all blue, as you see in the picture. It shall have an opening for the head in the middle of it, with a woven binding around the opening, like the opening in a garment, so that it may not tear. On its hem you shall make pomegranates of blue and purple and scarlet yarns around its hem, with bells of gold between them. A golden bell and a pomegranate, a golden bell and a pomegranate around the hem of the robe, and it shall be on Aaron with his ministers. and its sound shall be heard when he goes into the holy place before Yahweh, and when he comes out, so that he does not die. Also, having these bells on, if you can imagine, kind of announces to the people that a priest is going to enter the tabernacle and even in the Holy of Holies. So it's kind of a big deal. So it's kind of an announcement going on when you hear those bells going off. In verse 36, you shall make a plate of pure gold and engrave it on it, like the engraving of a signet, holy to Yahweh, and you shall fasten on the turban by a cord of blue, and it shall be on the front of the turban. It shall be on Aaron's forehead, and Aaron shall bear any gift from the holy things that the people of Israel consecrate as their holy gifts. It shall regularly be on his forehead, and they may be accepted before Yahweh. You shall weave the coat in a checker work of fine linen, and you shall make a turban of fine linen, and you shall make a sash embroidered with needlework. For Aaron's sons you shall make coats and sashes and caps, and you shall make them for glory and for beauty. Wonderful. And you shall put them on Aaron your brother and on his sons with him, and shall anoint them and ordain them and consecrate them, that they may serve me as priests. You shall make for them linen undergarments to cover their naked flesh. They shall reach from the hips to the thighs, and they shall be on Aaron and his sons when they go into the tent of meeting, or when they come near the altar to minister in the holy place, lest they bear guilt and die. This shall be a statute for him and for his offspring after him. They should wear these undergarments from the hips and shall reach to the thighs. They didn't have underwear like we have today, so if they're walking up any steps or whatnot, no one wants to see that, if you will. So and it was guilty of the priest to be uncovered in this way. So beautiful chapter describing strictly the attire of a priest. And isn't it beautiful that we are called holy priests? Should we be adorned in such a way, if not physically, spiritually, carrying ourselves with most pride, and because we're full of beauty and glory? The tabernacle and all its shiny things and gold and such was beautiful. Why not the garments of the priests who ministered there as well? And since our bodies are the tabernacle of Yahweh now, shouldn't we also have such glory as we shine? Beautiful chapter in helping us understand how specific and detail-oriented our Father is, that we need to go out into the world and that we need to go into Him, both beautiful as a representation and giving Him honor and glory. May Yahweh bless you and keep you, and you have a wonderful day today. Thank you.